Hi guys, good evening and good morning to all those that are winding their days down and to all those that are getting their days started. As always, as Nikki knows best, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can definitely leave them here on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and on my podcast, which is now on Google and Apple. Um, as I always state, the advice that I give primarily is going to be on spousal, relationships. However, you can use it however it can, however you see fit in your life. As far as your children is concerned, family, friends, co-workers, however you can use it. This evening, however, I would like to speak on our relationship with our children. As we know, when we have our children, we are we're getting to know them and they're getting to know us. We're still getting to know ourselves as well as parents because, there's no manual, obviously, so we're still trying to figure things out ourselves. Just always keep in mind, this is my advice, that, when dealing with your children, that you're always focused on lessons versus abuse. There's a difference between lessons and abuse. That's just my advice. I just believe that we were all raised in different eras, in different times, and trying to raise our children in a way that we were raised is unrealistic. There, I said it. It's unrealistic. Hitting on our children and the tough love, which I think is verbal abuse. It's being unrealistic. What do I mean? We were born and raised in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We're in 2020. And the world that we have our children in and that we're going to leave them in, we had to prepare them for this world. We can't be verbally and physically abusing our children because it's not going to help them in this world. It doesn't even help them as individuals, if you ask me. All it does is it leaves scars, it leaves stains on them about their parents or whoever raised them eternally. As children, you never forget anything into adulthood. I can tell you some things right now that happened to me as a child, and I'm not just talking about with my mom. I'm talking about period. So you don't want to be those negative scars and stains left on your children. I have two teenagers, one preteen and one teen. My oldest, he'll be 14 in May. I know a lot of you don't believe in Zodiac, but he's a Taurus. I'm dealing with the Taurus. And it's rough because we're still learning each other, and I try to find different routes so that we don't consistently clash. And no, I'm not trying to suck up to my son. I'm just trying to have a relationship with my child. I've been told that I'm a white mom because I don't whip my children. I just believe that there are other ways to deal with my children. Children, period, versus putting your hands on them, or a switch, or a belt, or extension cord, or 2x4, whatever your choice is. I just feel like there are other ways to deal with them. You have video games, you have phones, you have chores that you can add. There are different ways. That's just my advice. But dealing with my son, I don't ever want it to be where he turns away from me and seeks attention and or advice from someone else outside of me. That's why I try to do what I can as a mom to preserve our relationship. I always tell my children, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So I allow my children to speak their mind and be verbal. I do. If anyone meet them or meet us and you hear how my children talk, you may look at me a certain kind of way, and honestly, I don't care because you're not the one that's raising them. I allow my children to be very opinionated because 9 times out of 10, whatever the situation is, you probably wasn't even there. So you can't go off of what you think that possibly happened or what the teacher said or whatever. You have to allow your children to be verbal. Just tell them there's a way to say it. You're all ears. but there's a way to say it, and that's pertaining to anyone. So I had a situation happen this evening with my oldest where I told him to come and sweep the kitchen floor, and in the meantime you have a plate or something and a dish in the sink that I need you to take care of. Your brother said it was yours, and he said it wasn't his. It's not mine. It's never mine. And I've noticed that he takes that mentality, that attitude where I didn't do that. That's not me. That's not mine. I didn't do that. Never takes any kind of responsibility. Never. So I looked at that and I took that as a learning moment for him, a lesson. I stopped what I was doing and I said, look, you don't want to be that person. I'm going to tell you that right now. You don't want to be that person that can't and won't own up to anything, because that's a person, somebody no one can trust. Because if anything happened, they know that you won't immediately throw them under the bus. You don't want to be that person that it was never you. Oh, I didn't do that. Nope, I didn't. You don't want to be that. I had to stop and I had to talk to him about that and make him understand that's not the kind of person you want to be. That's not a trustworthy person, and it's not fair. So my point is, let's make sure that we are consistently in teaching mode when it's coming to our children versus a physical abuse or verbal abuse mode. Because you're teaching them something when you're hitting them. You're teaching them something when you're verbally abusing them, trust me. But it's not what you're intending. Like I said, we don't live in those other days anymore. You have to get with the times. So make sure that you're just constantly trying to teach them, because we have to get our children ready for this environment, for this world that we have them in. They did not ask to be here, neither did we. However, we're moms, we're parents now. They didn't ask to be here, so we have to prepare them as best we can for this world that we are about to release them into. And constantly hitting on them, that's not the way to prepare them. Verbally abusing them, that's not the way to prepare them. All you're doing is scarring them, trust me. I don't care how strong you may believe your child is, or how strong you may think that you are from what you dealt with as a child. Bet money, each and every person on this planet that was ever verbally abused or physically abused, I've never forgotten that, and it's affected you some way, whether you choose to believe it or acknowledge it. So my question is, why would you want to do that to your child? There are other ways, trust me, get creative. And that made me think, what am I doing wrong, or what did I do wrong for my child to feel like he never does anything wrong, or it's never his plate. I never left my shoes there. I didn't do that. I didn't dirty the room up. It made me question myself. My other child isn't like that, but it made me stop and question myself. So that's just my advice. Make sure that we are leaving our children with lessons that's going to be able to help them in the world that we are leaving them in today. Not abuse. As always, this is just my advice. You should use it, that's great. If not, I appreciate you viewing. And either way, you guys have a good evening and or a good morning.